Hope everyone's doing well. I want to show you something today that kind of shocked me and just caused me to reflect a lot on my own journey and my own sobriety today. I was at Lowe's and I was picking up some gear for my work. Um, I just needed to get some new things, a new headlamp. I wanted to get some hearing protection of my own. I've been using the company's hearing protection and I just wanted to get my own. And I didn't intend to originally, but a new pair of gloves has kind of been on my list as like a backup. My gloves still have some time, but I'll go ahead and show you my work gloves right now. So the brand doesn't matter, the make doesn't matter. What matters is these are my work gloves. I've been using these every day since I got hired at this job, pretty much. Now, I've only been working at this job for 6 months, but I use these gloves probably every day um, at my work, right? So they still have some time on them, but you could see they're starting to get pretty well worn in. They're shaped to my hand a little bit, and they're just, you could tell that these have been used. They've been, they've been used, okay? I like these gloves, and I wanted to get another pair of the exact same glove, right? So I'm at Lowe's because that's where I got these at, you know? And I was looking at the glove section and I was trying to find the same gloves that I use. Now, for comparison, this is like one of the gloves that I use, my current gloves. This is the same exact glove. These two gloves are the same. And I was shocked at first. I had to like double check the stitching almost. I had to look at the stitching to even realize like this is they hadn't changed anything about the glove. Like it's the same glove. This is the same exact glove as this. And this glove once looked just like this glove, right? I just don't remember that at all. Like I just don't recall that. Just through using these gloves each and every day, I've just gotten used to seeing them all the time in this slow, gradual change to the point where them looking like this just looks normal to me. And I don't see anything wrong with that. Once again, I'm still going to be using these. It's just nice for me to have a backup for when they do croak. Um, and that just caused, like, I was driving home, I was so tripped out over this. It was so trippy to me. I was like, there's no way that those are the same gloves. Like, they are, but, like, they're not at the same time. You know what I mean? And it just caused me to think about my own sobriety, you know, where I was, say, a year ago, before I got sober, to where I am today. In my perspective, in my lifestyle, in the things that I have, the things that I do, the situations I find myself in. And I was thinking, if I were to have seen myself a year ago, would I recognize myself? Like, I was actually thinking about that on the drive home. The differences like the different person that I was 1 year ago versus today. And, upon thinking about it a little more, I'm curious what situation I would have to find myself in to even run into myself a year ago. I think if I were to go about my day normally, I would not run into myself. I would not run into the person I was a year ago just on a whim. We were doing totally different things. I was doing, my life just looked absolutely different than what it does today. And upon thinking about that, I didn't notice any of these changes immediately. They weren't things that just happened overnight either. It was just slow, gradual things. And for a lot of those things, I didn't know what I was doing. My sobriety, a lot of it, I don't know what I'm doing all the time. I don't know, I can't really tell you why I'm doing what I'm doing. Maybe that comes out in these videos a little bit, and I'm okay with that. I'm not trying to portray myself as someone who knows what they're doing. I just share my story, keep it at that. And I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to be honest. Like, I don't. Um, that's okay. Like I said, the important thing is I just keep moving. I just keep moving. Just keep moving forward. Just keep taking the next step. And I feel that's like a part of recovery, especially, but even just life, that like maybe people talk about, but I feel it's so easy to fall into the trap of just waiting for the right time, waiting for stars to align, waiting for the right things to happen. When you just gotta go out and do things. I remember maybe 11 months ago or 10 months ago now, I was out with some people and they had known that I had a big problem drinking, and they asked me had I considered rehab. My first words that came out of my mouth were just like, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. Lo and behold, a few months later, I was in rehab. Best decision I ever made. Best life-changing decision. It changed my life, man. I needed treatment. I needed to just be physically separated from the alcohol and be in a space where I'm continuously learning about different aspects of recovery. That changed my life. I'm thankful for it. But I guess me saying no in that moment stemmed from me just comparing myself to comparing myself to the picture I had of people who had gone to rehab. I had pictured rehab as this like dirty thing, as this like only scum go there. And I'm saying that as someone who's been to rehab, so I'm not even talking down on anyone, dude. I'm just saying that's what I thought at the time. It wasn't right thinking at all. But that's like what I pictured it as. Oh, like you go to rehab, like you have a serious problem. Like I don't have a serious problem. It was denial. It was me waiting for the right thing. And then finally, when I had decided enough was enough, and when my pride was beaten down enough, I made that decision to go. That saved my life, man. 100% saved my life. And since then, there's been a lot of uncertainty and a lot of things that I just didn't know about or didn't know what I was going to be doing about. And, each of those things I just kept on moving forward. You know, my, and it's gotten to the point where, like, my sobriety is certainly the foundation of every aspect of my life, really. I mean, I wouldn't have all these things in my life. I would not have the relationships I have. I would not have the connection with my family. I would not have the job or financial security or like material things, even though material things aren't everything, right? I wouldn't have any of those things if it were not for my sobriety, right? But what I will say is that the sobriety has kind of become the foundation. And I say that, and I mean that by the sobriety is something that keeps me grounded, but the things in my life that I'm chasing, improved relationships with family and friends, right? Moving forward in careers and, just moving forward in my own personal life. Like, those things are what keeps me going. And half the time, I just have no idea what that looks like. I just know I gotta just keep on moving. Just do it anyway. When you don't know what you're doing, when you don't know what to do, just do something anyway. As it comes down to these gloves, like, I just use them. I just use them day in and day out. I couldn't tell you when I first bought them what I was going to be using them for. I just knew that I needed them. And, man, bro, these have saved my life. Like, these have saved my life. Yeah, man, saved my life. Use them for everything. And that's just what I did. And slowly but surely, these gloves, like, changed, and I feel like I'm pushing too hard on that analogy. But I don't know, man. A little bit of a shorter video. Life is confusing, It's not always a linear path. But, like, one of the keys for sobriety that I've found is you just move. You just move. The change follows. You just keep moving in the right direction. And, like, I was talking with someone. He lives kind of far out, but he finds himself down here. He's a buddy of mine. And I was like, oh, dude, what do you got going on for the rest of the day? And he was talking about his daughter. He was like, oh, I may take my daughter to the aquarium or to the park or wherever. And he said, wherever we end up going, like, it's going to be a good time regardless. Like, that's going to be the right decision to make. And I was like, dude, that's so true. Like, there's times where you're faced with options. You're faced with decisions that you may not know what to take or which road to take. Like, as long as that foundation is settled, that foundation being the sobriety, like, whichever decision you make, you'll find yourself in the right place, exactly where you need to be, I just keep on moving, man. I just keep on doing things. I don't know what it is half the time, I'm mentoring this guy now. I'm not going to use AA language on here, but he calls me, and I talk to my sponsor, my mentor, my sponsor. I'll just say it, whatever. Talk to my sponsor, and I tell him, I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. And he's the guy who suggested that I sponsor this person. He's the one who pointed this person to me. And I tell him, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he goes, that's okay. You just got to show him what you've been shown. Even with this freaking YouTube channel, man, even right now, I don't know what I'm, like, the exact structure of this video. I just know what I've been shown, and I just know what I know. And that's just what I'm trying to show, man. You just gotta keep on moving, bro. The most dangerous thing in sobriety is stagnation, in my opinion, because I've seen it with other people, getting stagnant, and then, losing purpose in life. And that's when going out seems a lot easier of an option. One of my buddies, he relapsed really hardcore. I think I briefly shared this story. No shade to him, but, like, he was where he still was 9 months after I met him, and all of the other guys in our group, we had jobs. We now a lot of us have cars that we didn't have before. A lot of us are just moving forward in life. But he was exactly where he was 9 months ago, just stagnant. And, I'm not gonna be like, that's the reason you relapsed. I don't know exactly what happened, but with the people I have seen where that's happened too, the people I have seen where they just get just discontent with their lives. It's the root cause. Like it's kind of like stagnation a little bit. I hate to like diagnose it as just one thing, but like that's one of the many things. You got to keep moving, man. So I guess that's the message, man. In sobriety, always be looking to progress. You know, nothing has to be perfect, man. You know, we're not here for perfection. Like, bro, I am far from perfect. And I feel like my alcoholism and just all the fucked up shit that happened to me in my drinking, like, kind of gives me a little bit of relief now. Because I'm like, well, that's where I came from. I was, yeah, I was in some fucked up situations, dude, doing some fucked up things that I would never do now. And that's where I came from. So the fact that I'm not doing that now, okay, I made a mistake. You know, not like today, let's say. So what? You know, so what? I'm kind on like I got to be kind on myself. So what, dude? You know, you're moving forward. Did you learn from that mistake? That's what matters. Are you going to make that same mistake twice? No. That's what matters, right? You just keep moving. Even if you don't know what it is, there's a path that's laid out in front of you, you know? And that next step, like, feels scary sometimes. Like, if you're walking on one of those old bridges, you know, like over a river and there's, like, the planks of wood, like, may feel like that's going to break. But, like, just know, like, in your own life, you know, I'm sure there's tons of people supporting you. If there's no one, like, I do, you know, like I may not know you, but like there's a lot of people who support your sobriety, a lot of people who support and just want to see other people win in life, man. Like I love seeing people win. Like there was someone, I still think about this comment, like he commented like 25 days sober last week. You know, I hope you're still doing well, bro. But I love seeing things like that, dude. I love it. I love seeing people. I love it when my homies get a new truck. I love it when the homies get a new job. I love it when I love it when like people in my life win. Because especially my rehab homies, because I've seen where we came from, dude. You know, and they tell me everything, right? I'm not going to air their business out, even if I'm not naming people. But seeing them win, dude, is like so amazing, you know? So even when that next step for me in life feels like a little bit iffy, you know, knowing that I got support, knowing that like there's people who just want to see me win, just gives me the courage to take that next step. And I found every single time I've taken that next step, like the plank has held up, you know? I've not fallen yet, man. I've not fallen yet. I've stumbled a few times. There's been some times where the plank, you know, maybe moved a little bit. My mom's stroke being one of them. Like, yeah, dude, that was fucking hard. I'm not going to front. But, like, we got through it, man. You know, we're getting through it. And I took that time where, you know, the plank may have shifted to, like, learn what to look for. You know, really took it as a learning opportunity. So in times like that, you know, just try your best to learn from it. I promise you, man, you just start moving, that change is going to follow. I just started using these gloves. You know, I just use them. This is where it started. This is where it is now. You know, I don't know how well it shows up on camera, and I just conditioned these, but this is where it is now. Just by using them. I don't know each day what I'm going to be using them for or what I'll need them for. I just know I'll need them. And every day that I have needed them, you know. So just use your sobriety, man. You'll change in ways you never could have pictured. That's all I got. Peace.